Alright, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect that's teaching His word on true faith and sincerity. And today I just want to tie this lesson, Justice Will Be Served. Pretty much, ultimately, at the end of the day, all these nations will be on a suggestion unto us, man. See, they're not going to, especially Esau, all these atrocities that this man have done, the wickedness. This nigga's not going to ride off in the sunset. And these other nations as well had a part in our downfall. They're not going to get away. So as we see this destruction coming about, this is going to pretty much cement their downfall. And the Lord is going to have us to kick them while they're down. Just like how the Lord had them kick us while we were down, man. So matter of fact, let's start off with that in the book of, I believe it's Sirach 16, Ecclesiastes chapter 16. Let's see. Right. Yep, this is Sirach 16 and in verse 13 it reads, "The sinner shall not escape with his spoils." See? So that's really E, man. He's not going to escape and then show you the situation he's in. Because that word escape show you danger is in the midst. It talks about when he is eating, that's when the Lord is going to rain upon him. Which is really World War III. He's not going to escape with his spoils. Actually, is going to give it all up. And the patience of the godly shall not be frustrated. And you see how it really goes hand in hand. You know, this man not escaping in the patience of the godly. Because when it talks about the patience and the faith of the saints, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. It says, shall not be frustrated. So the Lord is not going to, because really, ultimately, our desire is part of his will. You know, for this devil to come down, be destroyed. And we you know, we all with that, man. This is Revelation 13, and I start at verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. See? He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So that's justice. That's what we're looking for, man. The Lord is not going to just allow this man to have his way on the earth. He already had his time. He already ran his course. That's why you see Israel, you know, waking up. The skin is now the breath, you know. Let's show you what time we coming into. This transition. And this devil, as well as these other nations, because all these other nations benefit when you go into Lazarus and the rich man. It talks about how the dogs lick the sores of Lazarus. So these fucking Moabites, these Hamites, Ishmaelites, all these damn pretty much other nations have benefited from our downfall. But who get the bigger cut out of all of them? E. So he's going to get that great judgment as well. but all these nations will be subjection. This is justice right here. You know? Matter of fact, let's get another scripture. The book of, I think it's the book of Isaiah 33. In verse 1, it says, Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled. It dealeth treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. That's justice. And we know who the treacherous one. Esau, Edom, man. And how the Lord is going to spoil. He said when he ceased to spoil, that's when he's going to spoil. How the Lord's going to spoil him? By sending the spoilers, which are the missiles. When this man think he got everything on lock, he's bring forth his system, implement that mark. This nigga really think he's going to be able to rest. He gonna feel that. Nigga gonna act like he got that monkey off his back. He ain't got to look over his shoulder. He got the mark implemented. But that's when the Lord's gonna rain on his parade, man. And ultimately, you're gonna get dealt treacherously. It even talks about how you're gonna, beginning with these bankers. They're gonna be dwelling in pits. See, a lot of hell is gonna come to you fucking nations, man. You proud gooks and you Ammonites, you Ishmaelites, you smelly Edomites, and especially you Edomites, man. All you other nations will feel justice. It's the best way I can put it. I think it's another scripture in Jeremiah. I think it's 30. Bear with me. Let me see. Right. This is Jeremiah 30 and verse 16. It reads, Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. See? And when you devour something, you pretty much, it's not so much as for the taste. Well, nowadays you see it, these people, they eat certain shit for the taste. Nigga love Cheetos. He's devouring Cheetos. But the point of you devouring something is you gaining the nutrients from eating whatever you eat. You eat an apple, you get certain vitamins, So these nations, they devoured us. They benefited from our downfall, man. They was able to thrive by the way of us being in subjection unto them. Well, that's going to happen to them. We're going to be able to thrive by the way of them being subject unto us. And that's the real reparation, nigga. March. And a nigga take $7,500 and be good with that. But that's not the real reparations. You ain't gonna be able to be repaired. That's gonna just gonna dig a deeper, just gonna go further down into this pit America, man. This is how the Lord is gonna repair us, which is happening now by the way of this word. But in its fullness, that comes with rulership and subjects. Because we are, the Lord said he's made us kings and priests who was meant to be on top. This is, therefore all they devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. See? Every last one of them, man. Starting with Esau. When you read Psalms 83, it pretty much gives you that list, which were all the nations. And the top three was like Edom, Moab, and Ishmael, man. And them be some proud, you know what I mean? Nigga, you come across an Arab, the nigga proud, he got a fitted cap, fitted hat on, all proud, but the nigga musty. You had these gooks, they proud, they talk shit in their language. Their motor skills are off, but they proud, man. Because of the state they're in. Well, guess what? You're gonna go into captivity, thus saith the Lord. This is the decree right here, man. It says, and they that spoil thee shall be spoiled, and all that prey upon thee will I give for prey. See? So we're going to benefit from your downfall. It continue on. It says, for I will restore health unto thee. See, this is how the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is going to restore us. This is the reparations. This is justice. You know, because a nigga would watch 12 years of slaves and get fired up. You know, one of these old slave movies and get fired up. And when you watch the end of the movie, there's no justice that come about. At best, the nigga bought his freedom, and it wasn't no, you know, it wasn't nothing that would, there wasn't no good ending to these slave movies, ultimately, man. Only, you know, like I said, at best a nigga might be free, now what? No, this is how the Lord's going to restore us in his fullness. It says, and I will heal thee of thy wounds. Matter of fact, it also says this, and I'm going to go back to this. Let's get this in Isaiah, the 60th chapter. Isaiah 60. And the whole chapter. A great chapter. Isaiah 60 verse 10, it reads, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. See, so you can see the Lord, his favor, that mercy is by the way of having these nations to build up our walls, as well as having these kings to minister unto us, man. So from even back from Pharaoh to Nebuchadnezzar, you know, these ancient Caesars, these old Caesars of Rome, Alexander, even up to this day, Putin, Trump, and really these bankers, because they really running shit. They're going to be our subjects. Because that's how the Lord smote us. By bringing us, when you read Isaiah 47, it talks about how the Lord polluted his inheritance and have given us into the hands of the enemy. That's how the Lord smote us, by sending E. But this favor is going to be shown by the way of the Lord, you know, having these nations to be subject unto us, man. That's justice. So going back, Jeremiah chapter 30, in verse 17, it reads, for I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they call thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Yeah, because these nations, they was waiting on the day that we fall, man. You know, that was the only way they'll be able to come in and capitalize from us falling and turning away from our power. But now we in that time of restoration. The Lord has given us this word, you know, getting with his name. Now is the clock. So the clock is ticking now, man. You know, justice, and it talks about, you know, what's that saying? Vengeance is best served cold. You know what I mean? See, at the end of the day, everybody going to heaven, but it's gonna be a ranking system, just like every kingdom, the empire that have came in. When you're gonna have rulers and you're gonna have subjects, man. You know, and the rulers today will be the subjects tomorrow. Let's get there. Isaiah the 14th chapter, Isaiah 14:2. It reads, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place." See, and that people that's going to be taken to their place are these, especially starting with these Edomites. They're a lot, you know. This is his office, is to be a servant. When you go back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, in that prophecy of the elder shall serve the younger. That's why when Solomon in Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter, it talks about how he's seen an error on the earth. He's seen servants on horses, meaning servants were in power. And this is what we've seen. We've seen the base man in power now. And princes walking on the earth. But things are going to get turned right side up, man. They're going to be brought to their place. It said, "In the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." See? This is justice, man. Nigga talking about marching for reparation, you just want some money. The money gonna be liquid when you have the people, man. When you get the people, you get everything they own. That's why even within the prophecy, it talks about how we shall possess Edom. That's concerning the land. You know? See, we want to be liquid, man. These other nations are going to bring their resources as tribute. You got to look over your shoulders. It talks about how this kingdom shall not be left to no one else, man. It shall stand forever. This is what we're coming into. So within the kingdom, of course, we're going to have the law, statute, and commandments as the standard. Just like all other kingdoms, they had their laws on the books, the do's and don'ts. And you had rank. You had the government, the rulers, you know. Even when you go into Daniel, the 3rd chapter talks about concerning Nebuchadnezzar, and everyone within the kingdom talks about is it the counselors and the treasurers and captains, you know. This is all part of their government, man. But then you got the middlemen, the heralds, to bring forth the decree unto the subjects, man. So it's no different. You're going to have kings. You're going to have the 144 governing body, the 1/3, and the 2/3 the citizens, you know. Then the other nations, they're going to be the subjects, man. Like you get the upper class, you know what I mean? Lower, you know. But it ain't going to be no middle class. Then it's going to be the upper class, and then the lower class, which is you other nations, man. But as you can see, justice is throughout the scriptures. And it's really for this moment in time that we're at. So, matter of fact, let's end off on this in the book of Psalms, chapter 58. In verse 10, it reads, "The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance." And we in that process now. The Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, sending forth these prophecies on the earth. You know, everything is happening. The Lord is working in the earth. Just like when talks about how going back to Egypt, the Lord heard the groanings, and that activated those plagues. But that's what we're saying. The Lord sending forth these plagues, and we're rejoicing, man, because this is that path to us getting out of captivity. Ultimately, that destruction is going to cement that. And so he shall wash his feet. It says he shall wash his feet in the blood, so that a man shall say, verily, there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a power that judgeth in the earth. See, he's a righteous power that, and the Lord is going back, as we read earlier, the first scripture, how the wicked shall not escape, man, with the spoil. This nigga been robbing the earth all night, and he just posed a ride off in the sun and said, no, y'all Basham outside is a just power. And it's being made known and manifest as these judgments on display. So what justice will be is being served now. You know, that's what we see Esau's, his kingdom is divided. You know, he this nigga got war on all fronts, from physical, nigga spreading his military thing, to the war on information. This nigga on the battlefield on every level. He can't win. You know? This is justice, man. As we read, he is a power that judgeth in the earth. And this is what we're seeing on right now on display. So yeah, I just hope this will edify and like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rechai, Kodash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom to the elect. That's teaching word in our true faith and sincerity. Shalom.